Welcome back to another episode of Decoded, a Lost Codex podcast. I am your host, Jesse. I am the writer, director, and narrator for the Lost Codex episodes. Today with me, Shanyn has returned for round 2. Welcome back, Shanyn.
So glad to be back.
Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about not allied races, very much. We're going to be talking about Blizzcon, because we are getting to Blizzcon ticket buying season very soon this week, but we'll come back to that in a second. Some news and updates this week. PTR is imminent, according to Ythizens. I don't know how to say his name.
Ythizens, close enough.
Let's call him Caden, because that's his name.
Yep.
He says in a post that PTR, which means pre-patch, Teldrassil, all that stuff is coming, but no official information yet. It's coming soon. So, as a reminder, if you haven't done your Mage Tower or your Spellburb runs, now would be the time to do them. Mage Tower runs, I'm hoping Blizzard patches it in with a pre-patch. With permanent Mage Tower for like the last 2 months, it would suck to still only have the 3 days once a week to do it, because that's kind of limited. So I'm hoping Blizzard puts it up permanently for the next little while. So that's running out, and if you haven't gotten your bird mount from Argus, now's the time to do it. Shanyn, what's that website called?
If you guys go to friendshipburb.com, it has all the groups currently running, the groups to get that. There's EU, US, Horde, and Alliance, so if you guys are on any of those channels, you should be able to find a group to get that.
Time is running out, people, so get on that. Don't wait to the last second, because a lot of those are raffles and are not guaranteed to get you in. A new little segment we're going to start doing on this podcast, if it's relevant, if it comes up, if I remember or know, are some birthdays over the last week. So we'll start with the most important birthday. Shanyn, it was your birthday the other day. Happy birthday.
It was my birthday. I'm so excited.
What kind of cake did you have?
I made myself a funfetti cake because I'm an adult child.
Funfetti? What is that?
It's like vanilla with sprinkles inside the batter. It's horrible,
sprinkles?
But so good.
Oh, Dutch people would love that.
Right?
Do you know the thing with Dutch people and sprinkles?
No.
They eat sprinkles on their toast for breakfast.
What?
So Jeff literally will I don't know if he actually toasts it. I don't think he toasts it. Takes a piece of bread with butter and puts chocolate sprinkles or color sprinkles and eats that for breakfast.
What? That sounds amazing.
And I thought it was just Jeff being Jeff, and apparently no, it's a cultural thing. Google right now, Dutch breakfast sprinkles.
Oh, it's just toast with a bunch of sprinkles on it. Oh, that's like candy for breakfast. I love it. I know what my birthday meal is next year.
Going to the Netherlands.
Oh, yeah.
Other birthdays this week was, we were just talking about him, Ythizens, or however you say his name, Caden House. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Caden. That was yesterday? Friday, yes. And tomorrow, or actually when you guys listen to this, it'll be today, is Thist's birthday from Lagging Balls. So happy birthday, Thist. I believe she's doing her birthday stream right now, but it is too late for you guys to watch that because it will be in the future. Couple of Lost Codex updates for you guys listening in. Zandalari Episode 1, Empire's Dawn, was released earlier this week. We are currently in process of doing Zandalari Episode 2, which will feature the Akir and Troll War with the other Troll tribes. If you watch Empire's Dawn, you saw some artwork by Issei Silva, a well-known artist in the Blizzard art community. She did a amazing painting of a Zandalari troll riding a pterodax, and we have a really awesome shot planned for this upcoming next script. So no spoilers, but it's going to be epic. One thing I did want to talk about very briefly was some print ideas. We're trying to think of ways that we can offer some different kinds of merchandise. And we came up with a print idea last week, a way to not only showcase Lost Codex assets, but also the script as well. And the idea we came up with was to feature a Lost Codex episode script on a piece of parchment with different sort of decorations and symbols around the script to make it look like that it was ripped out of a textbook, history, manuscript, ancient ruins, something like that related to that race. So on screen right now, you're going to see a picture of a Zandalari troll page. This is the script from the Zandalari episode last week, and the idea was it's a script written by the Keepers of the Lost Codex, or sort of in-world look at the actual codex, while still kind of getting the words of the script on it. We thought, would this be cool as a print idea? And I asked a whole bunch of people. Shannon, I asked you, what did you think of it?
I mean, I really liked it because I don't have a lot. Like, I like to frame things. I have all the canvases on my wall. Artwork wise, they're actually just really unique. Like, there's not a lot of stuff out there like that. So I would be super interested in them. They actually looked really well done. So it would be really cool.
And I guess, and maybe I'm the wrong person to ask because it's kind of like our own idea. It's actually a friend of ours working with the Lost Codex episodes, the Patreon posts and just editing and stuff like that. It was originally their idea. And the unique part about this is it can be different themes. So if you're not a fan of the troll aesthetic, that's fine. What if you like Tauren? What if Tauren's your thing? And I put up a Tauren script, and instead of the troll symbols, you get smudges and ashen marks on there. You get the hooves. You get the different symbols of Anshe and the Earth Mother, stuff like that. Or a silver hand page, and it's a lot more regal and elegant with silver roses and fists and stuff like that. So, different ideas. What do you guys think of the idea? Would it be something you'd be interested in as a background, like a desktop background, or actual prints? Let us know in the comments below, or send us an email, send us a message, let us know what you think. Moving on to the meat and potatoes of this podcast, BlizzCon hype. Now, for anyone who knows me, or watches my streams, or just talks to me in Discord, BlizzCon is the one driving factor throughout the year that I look forward to. So, if you're new to this, buckle up. Pump your brakes. This is the beginning of a ride that is gonna last all the way until November. So if you don't care about BlizzCon, my condolences. Biggest question out there, what is BlizzCon? Shannon, describe BlizzCon. It's hard to describe, but what is it?
So BlizzCon, it's the one convention a year that they put on to celebrate all Blizzard games. So, Warcraft, StarCraft, Overwatch, Hearthstone, everything. And it's this big celebration over 2 days of everything new with the games, everything upcoming. And it's just great to see all the stuff coming together from the past year, from the upcoming year. And it's a chance for Blizzard to celebrate their games with all of us, all the fans. So, it's basically the best thing ever.
The best thing ever. And it's one of those places where, and nowadays it's not so much an issue, with embracing your nerd culture. It's become, I don't want to use the word mainstream, but
there's not a stigma with being a nerd anymore.
No, there's not.
And it's a place where literally everyone is there for the same reason. And so you have no reason to be ashamed of, being the person that maybe stays in Friday night and plays World of Warcraft instead of going out. Like, everyone is there, and they've all done that. And that's one of, like, the most welcoming communities out there.
And nowadays, like, I'm not afraid to say that I love WoW, I love Warcraft, I love these games. But maybe as a kid, maybe there was a time where we all kind of felt that. Nowadays, I think most of us don't feel that. But at BlizzCon, that's like double gone. Not only do you not care or not feel that, but you get to talk about all the crazy things, like all these different. Did you check out the new Overwatch match? Did you see the new raid? Did you play the new Diablo class? The different things where everything you talk about, someone around you can chime in and just join in on the fun, because you're being with the people who play the same games as you.
Exactly.
And that's the gathering of not just Blizzard, but the fans, the people who play those games, including the developers.
Yeah. And I can't even count on two hands how many times, I've struck up conversations with people waiting in lines for stuff. I mean, everyone is just so excited to be there. They're willing to talk to like everybody. So there's no shame. There's no anything, like you said, there had been with that nerd culture. It's honestly one of like the most welcoming communities I think that I've been a part of, especially con-wise. BlizzCon's just a lot different than other cons, because it is Blizzard specific, and I think they just have an extremely good fan base, and that's one of the things that makes it so welcoming.
For me, BlizzCon almost kind of not re-sparked that fuel, that pride and passion for Blizzard, because I've always been a Blizzard fan from the day one, but it's kind of that thing that all my passion goes into every year. Like, I'm excited to play Overwatch, I'm excited to play World of Warcraft, but as we get closer to November, that excitement for those games just rises tenfold, because you're just like, I am going to the mecca of Blizzard games. Shanyn, tell us about your first time at BlizzCon. When was your first BlizzCon? What year?
I think it was 2014. So, my husband had actually just moved here 2 months prior, and we had been discussing, in April, hey, should we go? It's going to be kind of weird because he just got here and, he wasn't going to have a job. I was like, we can make it work, right? So we drove from Colorado, which was the first mistake.
One hell of a drive.
Yeah. But we ended up, we stayed in a room with 13 other people at the Hilton.
Holy
and
crap.
But we didn't know yet. So the whole thing was a learning experience from the get-go. But I can't even explain the feeling of just approaching the convention center for the first time. Like, just seeing the banners up, it's just crazy how, excited I was. But I think I'll never forget my first opening ceremony. It was the year that Overwatch was announced.
Oh, that's a good year to be your first.
And literally just seeing Metzen on stage, almost crying. You could see him shaking, all the passion that had gone into this game over the past, however many years. I'll never, ever forget that. And, went to all the pre and post parties, met so many people. I mean, it was overwhelming for your first time to go. But it was over so fast too. And that's what sucks about it.
That's the worst part.
You're just having so much fun and then it's over. But yeah, 2014, we've gone ever since. We did skip 2016, but I think we've made it our goal. It's our one big vacation a year. We don't go to, we don't go on cruises or go on vacation to nice, beaches and stuff. Now it's BlizzCon. That's our one big deal. Same.
My first BlizzCon was BlizzCon 2011, and I said this in the first podcast with Jeff. We had won the Machinima movie contest, and I got invited down. It was a very last second thing. It was late September we found out, and BlizzCon that year was in October. So I said to my I had a friend who was going. She was already going, and she happened to have a spare ticket. So I said, can I buy that spare ticket off you for my cousin? And then my other friend, her guildies had 2 tickets, so she bought it for her and her boyfriend. And very last second, we went down. Didn't know what to expect. So all the hotels were booked around. So we had a 15, 20-minute walk to the convention center. So, as you said, learning experience for the first time. But walking up to the convention center, that was the year they announced Mists of Pandaria. In 2011. So being there for my first World of Warcraft announcement was definitely something. I'll say that my first BlizzCon was the learning. It was the blueprints, because I got to see what everything was. I got to kind of get the feel for it. So when I went back in 2013, because BlizzCon 2012 just didn't happen at all, Blizzard didn't host it. Never forget, Blizzard. I went down in 2013, and I planned at this time about a whole bunch of friends with me. That, I would say, was the true year, the big year that kind of 2011 was the preview to. And as you said, I remember we were pulling into the Marriott next to the convention center, and earlier that day they had been putting up the banners, but we couldn't see what it was. And as we're pulling into the parking lot, we could see the banners, and my friend Matt, Mike's brother, slammed on the brakes, and we all jumped out of the car and ran towards the convention center. I just left Matt in the car, or so I thought, and I turned to me, running next to me is Matt. He just left the car in 4 ways on, all doors open, and we're just running towards the convention center. And anyone who's never been to BlizzCon is kind of they're just banners, relax. But seeing them up and knowing it's coming, we're close. honestly, I consider 2013 and 2011 as like a combined BlizzCon because it was just there was that huge awful gap of 2012. I don't want to ever remember that year because that was an awful long year. But my first BlizzCon 2011, what Mists of Pandaria 2013, Warlords of Draenor so 2, World of Warcraft announcements, and it was just been going every year since. It's the one thing I look forward to and the one thing we go to every year. Where is BlizzCon, you might ask? BlizzCon is in Anaheim, California. Blizzard headquarters is located in Irvine, California, and they decided to host BlizzCon just up the road in Anaheim, literally right next to Disneyland, in the giant Anaheim Convention Center, where I think VidCon is often hosted, D23 or D3 or whatever it's called, the Disney convention.
Mm-hmm.
Whole bunch of other conventions are held there. The Anaheim Convention Center has 2 big hotels on either side, the Marriott and the Hilton. We'll talk about those later. But in the area, if you do go to BlizzCon, Disneyland, Hollywood Studios, Universal Studios, beaches galore, Los Angeles, everything's nearby. So it's not one of those places that you just go to and visit the con. If you go to BlizzCon, there's so much to do before and so much to do after. I always tell people, just make a vacation out of it. If you've never been to California, go to Harry Potter World, go to Disneyland, go to the ocean, whatever you want to do. It's not just, unless you want to make it just a trip to BlizzCon, but you're there, why not do other stuff? Why go to BlizzCon? We kind of touched at the beginning, but why go to BlizzCon? This is going to be a huge part of the podcast here. I think that's the easiest way to describe it because and earlier today, I'll say I was struggling to find a theme for this podcast, and I thought, okay, we talked about allied races the week before. We could do another allied races talk tonight, but I want to space it out. I want to give some room for you guys to breathe on your excitement of Dark Iron and Maggar, because I'm still hyperventilating about those. And then I realized BlizzCon tickets are this Wednesday, and I had to build up hype, and there was only one person that could help me build up hype, and that is Shanyn. And earlier last year, Shanyn and I convinced one of the hosts of But Wait There's Lore, Dane is going to BlizzCon this year, and I'm saying this on the podcast so you can't duck out and bail.
Yeah, you can't back out of it.
Everyone is listening to this now, Dane. You're going. But when we started that conversation, I think he said something along the lines of, I don't really care about BlizzCon. And after Shannon and I stopped crying for 10 minutes because that really hurt our feelings, we convinced him after an hour-long back and forth. We tag-teamed it, and he was kind of like, okay, you know what? I kind of want to go. And we're hoping that if you, listening now, have never been to BlizzCon, by the end of this is just a preview today. What we're talking about today, what we're hyping up today, we're just skimming the top of the barrel. This hype train hasn't even started woo-wooing yet. We're getting going here, and if you're part of my Discord, if you're part of my community fan base, if you follow me on Twitter, holy crap, BlizzCon is all I'm going to be talking about. So it is the best ever. One reason it's the best ever. Shannon, go.
Friends. It sounds really vague, but I've met so many people from around the literal world. Like, I've made friends from Australia and Russia. I met someone from Iceland last year.
Whoa.
And it's just like, it's so crazy to think that the traveling that these people do to get to this con. And you make so many friends that, you only see them once a year. It's so hard to pack all this time into 2 days to see everybody. But the friend reunion is definitely one of the biggest parts about it. And it just gets bigger every year. I mean, you add to that circle of friends every year. I don't think I try to recruit people constantly. I'm always like, hey, BlizzCon. And then they show some interest, and then I go full BlizzCon hype on them and end up getting them to go a lot of the time. So it's fun to recruit people and then watch their reactions, like their first BlizzCon, and then to be able to talk about what it was like. Cause it's so exciting.
Honestly, friends is probably the biggest reason I go to BlizzCon. Not only do I try to bring friends from my hometown to BlizzCon, I always try to bring new people every year to experience the one thing that I love, but meeting new people down there as well. Every year that I come down, since 2011, minus 2012, I've brought someone new every year from my hometown. And most of them I want to say 80% of them have always come back for a second, third, fourth. A couple of them are going on their 5th BlizzCon this year because they decided to come with me my first year. And for all of us, and by all of us, I mean anyone going to BlizzCon who makes this an annual trip, this is the one thing that we look forward to. And when I'm down there every year, I meet so many new people at the parties, in line, at the demos, just talking to everybody that, you know, there's one friend I'll talk about, my friend Allison, and I met Allison standing in line at the voice actor stage in 2014, the year after Warlords came, or Warlords was coming out that year, actually, a week after BlizzCon. And she was standing in line and she was sketching, and I just looked over her shoulder at her sketches, and I started commenting on the sketches, and we started talking, and turns out she's a huge Orc fan, and Garrosh and Grom fan, and so was I. We started talking. We're still friends to this day, all because we started talking in line over her sketches, and it was just the smallest conversation that turned into an awesome friendship. And that's just one of dozens upon dozens of friendships. And as Shannon said, I've met people from all around the world. Last year I got to meet 2 awesome people from Hungary, and I couldn't believe how long their journey was. Jeff flies from the Netherlands every year. I've met people from Australia. I've met people from Russia. I've met people from Ireland, Scotland, all these different places they come to just for BlizzCon, and it's awesome. It's just so awesome that they all come to this. A lot of times I go down, and it's a great networking opportunity, especially if you want to get into the industry and you want to work in the video game industry, esports, anything like that. If you're remotely interested, whether you want to work at Blizzard or not, BlizzCon is the place to go, because when you meet friends, you make opportunities, and everyone you talk to just you never know what connection they might have or who you're talking to. The amount of Blizzard developers there, obviously, all the Blizzard developers are there. Most of them are intermingling with the fans, with the crowds, and a lot of times, a lot of people going to BlizzCon see them as these celebrity rock star statuses, and at the end of the day, they're just nerds like us who want to be there, and they're just people, but we see them as, and obviously the biggest, when you think of rock star at BlizzCon, everyone thinks of Metzen. Chris Metzen walking through the Hilton always had security around him, bodyguards, because he was, aside from looking like Bono, treated like Bono in that, holy crap, that's Chris Metzen. And I have a Chris Metzen. I have 3 Chris Metzen memories from BlizzCon where I met him at 3 different locations and got to talk and hang out with him outside the elevators, outside different parties, outside the hotel. Just meeting these people. I got to talk to Mike Morheim, was just casually standing in the Hilton lobby by himself, and I went up and talked to Mike Morheim for 15 minutes, and it's just the most surreal experience talking to these people, talking to these who we deem as these amazing storytellers and game developers, and they're just there to celebrate with us. They're just there to participate and hang out with the fans that make their game successful. Another big reason to go is obviously the announcements. And the announcements, that's something that you can watch from home on the virtual ticket, and a lot of people say, oh, I don't need to go, I can just watch it on my computer. But it's not the same. And Shannon described her first BlizzCon experience with the Overwatch announcement. And I'll never forget that opening ceremony, because you can go watch it on YouTube. And Chris Metzen says something along the lines that it's been X amount of years, 16 years or 14 years or whatever, since we created a new IP. And the room where the BlizzCon opening ceremony holds, I want to say 3,000 people. The room went silent. 3,000 people shut up. Because, every year at BlizzCon they announce a Warcraft expansion, or something new for Diablo, or StarCraft, or now Overwatch, and Hearthstone, and Heroes, and the list goes on. But never was it a new IP. It was always, at the time before then, it was always it was always Warcraft, StarCraft, or Diablo, and Hearthstone was a part of the Warcraft universe, so that makes sense. But when Metzen said it's been X amount of years since we created a new IP, everyone, I remember thinking, just the silence in my head, I was like, holy shit. And then he walked off stage and the Overwatch trailer played, and it was the biggest what is happening? What is this? Is this Pixar? And at the end, people were going wild and cheering, and we didn't know what for.
We had no idea what it was.
I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I love this gorilla and this British chick on stage attacking this terrifying skull guy and this French sniper. Like, I was so confused, but so excited to be there in person.
Like, I think if there's one thing that should never be skipped, it's the opening ceremony. I know a lot of people will sleep in, whatever. If you're ever going to a BlizzCon, if this is your first BlizzCon, if it's your 10th BlizzCon, the opening ceremony is like the biggest hype about BlizzCon, because everything that's exciting, everything that's getting announced is announced right there. The Sombra announcement, what was it, 2 years ago? Like, you can watch videos on YouTube about that all day. But being there was absolutely insane. Like, having everything glitch out, the power went out, right, for that split second. Convention center completely dark. I can't explain, like, how many people are screaming. Like, it's just, you can't miss that. Like, opening ceremony is definitely something that you shouldn't skip. Just because it's the opening for the entire weekend. It gives you that full preview of everything that's going to happen. And if you miss that, like, if I ever miss one, I'm gonna regret it forever.
The thing about the opening ceremony is it's the spark to your weekend. Sure, you've been partying all night, because the night before, Wowhead party, different parties, the Blizz Nerds party, all the different parties, Calm Before the Storm. Your party mode's going, your hype's going. But if you passed out early, or you just didn't party that night, and you need that spark to light you up, that's the opening ceremony. And like, the Sombra announcement was just insane. This past year, BlizzCon 2017, when they announced, not only did they announce classic servers, which was watching that go down live. I'm not really, like, I'll play it. I'm kind of interested, but I'm not a huge advocate for classic servers. I'm not against it, but I'm just whatever. But being in the audience when J. Allen Brack announced that, unbelievable.
It was the ice cream joke.
It was the ice cream, and the whisper started to go through, like, wait, is he leading up to vanilla? Is he leading up to vanilla? And then he says, but your favorite is vanilla. And then the crowd just went ballistic.
I cried.
Battle for Azeroth trailer, Sylvanas yelling for the Horde, the room deafening with booming for the Horde response from the fans. Even when Anduin at the end yelled for the Alliance, usually it's always the Horde is in the crowd, is the loudest part of the crowd. More people play Horde. But even the booming shout at the end for Anduin's for the Alliance was still, your heart was going. And I play both factions, and I was on my feet, just yelling for this announcement.
I think for the first time, like, for when Morheim always goes, who's the Horde players, who's the Alliance players, when Anduin said that at the trailer, like, I said for the Alliance, and that's a big deal for me. Shannon
said things that she never thought would come out of her mouth. Honestly, if you're going to a BlizzCon opening ceremony is not the thing to miss. And what's really cool, something that was new last year, is it's always held on one stage off to the far left-hand side of the convention center. And the big deal is getting seats. And if you're not a fast runner, move out of the way, because you get trampled. And eventually they lock you out. The fire marshal rule kicks in, and you're not allowed to go in there, whether you have a seat saved. I remember one year I went out to go find a friend, and couldn't find him, so I went back in, and the security guard's like, I can't let you back in. I said, my bag's literally in there. I have my friend saving me a seat. Like, my phone's in there. They're like, sorry, sir, I can't let you in. And Ghostcrawler was going through the crowd, and they weren't letting Ghostcrawler through. They weren't letting Greg Street through. And he was going through the side, and he kind of like looked around like, are they seriously not letting me in? And like, he was trying to explain to them, he goes, I need to be in there, because I don't know what announcement it was. And he wasn't acting all pompous. He was just kind of saying like, hey, like, look at my Blizzard developer badge, let me in. And they were saying no. So he was moving along down the security line, and I kind of just followed him. And as he was going through, he found some security guards, and I kind of just leaned over. I'm like, I'm totally pretending I'm with you. Just go with it. He's like, okay. And we went through, and they both let us in. And and as we went in, I said, thank you. He's like, no problem. And we kind of went our separate ways, and I found my seat. But they block you hard. They don't let you in. So what's really cool about this last BlizzCon is they've made different rooms for the opening ceremony, which I think was really cool. Because every year they'll start with a StarCraft announcement, then they'll start with a Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and then World of Warcraft, whatever the big one is. And you can watch it on screen, like on a panel, on a TV screen, all throughout the convention center. But if you're not in the opening ceremony stage, it kind of sucks. So what they did this year was at the Hearthstone stage, which was set to look like a tavern, big barrels, the bar where the big Hearthstone tournament is, Ben Brode came out on the stage and announced Kobolds and Catacombs on that stage. So if you were a Hearthstone fan, you went to the Hearthstone stage and you saw Ben Brode live. If you were at the main stage, you just saw the TV screen of it. My friend Mike was locked out of the main stage area, so he went to the Overwatch arena, and in the Overwatch arena, Jeff Kaplan and Darren DePaul came running out, talked about the Reinhardt cinematic, and announced Moira. And for Overwatch fans to be in the Overwatch arena, it was something totally different, because you got to be in the themed arena on the theme stage of the game you were looking forward to the most. So I thought that was a really cool addition this year, because it allowed people who get locked out, you can still enjoy the opening ceremony without watching the full thing on a TV screen.
Exactly. And it kind of, it relieves a little bit of the stress of, like, people line up outside that convention center literally days before, but the morning of, usually around like 6 a.m., people are out in that plaza waiting to get in. And it was always that rush of, they don't let you run in the convention center. So if you're running, full force, the security guards are like, hey, cool it, whatever. So you speed walk. But now you don't have to do that as much, because people do separate out and not everyone's going to the main stage area. So you can pick, if you love Overwatch, go to the Overwatch arena and you're not going to miss anything. So it's actually, I was a little skeptical when they first announced it, because I was like, oh man, like, how are they going to do that? Because
it's
they
ruining
didn't really
the opening ceremony.
Exactly. They didn't explain like how they were going to do it, but I think it worked out really well. So I'm assuming they'll do it again, because I think the feedback they got from it was pretty positive.
Overwhelming. So I think definitely good choice on that. Moving on to the biggest question. When is BlizzCon? BlizzCon is November 2nd and 3rd, Friday and Saturday in November. A couple days after Halloween. It's always held on a Friday, Saturday. It's always, I want to say almost always, the first weekend of November. In the past, it has been the last weekend of October, and there was one held in August. But the last couple of years have always been the first weekend of November, so people can usually guesstimate when to plan their vacations. There's no reason to assume it will be any other time, but Blizzard can do whatever they want. But this year, November 2nd and 3rd, Friday, Saturday, tickets go on sale on May 9th, 7 p.m. Pacific time, so that's 10 p.m. Eastern time. What time is that your time, Shannon? 8. And so that's this upcoming Wednesday, a couple days from now. And then May 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time.
11 p.m.
And 11 p.m. What's your zone?
Mountain time.
Mountain time. So make sure you do the conversion right. 7 p.m. Pacific time on the Wednesday night and 10 a.m. Pacific time on the Saturday morning. And this is the first challenge with BlizzCon is the ticket sales. And a lot of people are discouraged. A lot of people get overwhelmed. But that's what we're going to help you with today. The podcast today, Shannon and I are going to focus on it. We're done gushing about the BlizzCon details for now. But we're going to help you get BlizzCon tickets with our... We're both veterans at this. We both have years of experience. So we're both going to give you our tips and our suggestions on what to do for the ticket sales. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is organize your group. Figure out how many people are going to BlizzCon. Whether you have a hotel or not, worry about how many people are going to BlizzCon. If there's 5 of you, 6 of you, 7 of you, if you got a couple of maybes and you're able to afford it, grab an extra ticket. Focus on those people that can afford it. The thing to remember is you can only buy 4 tickets per buyer. So if there's 5 of you going, you need 2 successful people to get tickets. 1 to buy 4, 1 to buy 1. Plan ahead, organize who has the right amount on their cards. If there's 3 of you going, 4 of you going, don't tell all 3 of your friends, hey, good luck, buy it on your own MasterCard. Try and organize, if you can. If you can organize on your credit card, move some money around, try and get as many people as you can to help you buy these tickets, because it's tough to get in, and you don't want to basically just say everyone's free-for-all. Basically, if you need 4 tickets, all 4 of you try to get in, only one of you needs to get in, and you're golden.
On the topic of credit cards, too, a great thing you can do is call your credit card company, call your bank, let them know that you're going, especially if you're buying 4 tickets, they're $200 a pop. Mm-hmm. Most people don't just go out and spend $800 on one thing. Call these companies and let them know so they do not block your card. I've had so many people get so upset because they tried to, they got all their information put in, and their card was flagged because they thought it was fraud. So definitely, if you're using a credit card, even if you're using a debit card, just call your bank and let them know so they don't flag your account.
So Shannon's going to explain how the ticket sales work, and it's stressful, but organization is key. Shannon, take it away.
So all BlizzCon ticket sales are handled through universe.com. Basically, there's an event listed, and the second the time opens, the event goes live. I don't want to stress people out when I say that, but they sell out in seconds. So great things to do. Get your account set up before time. Get your credit card information saved beforehand. Do everything you can to be preemptively ready for the cart to open. Because once you're in the cart, I'm going to say you're 99% guaranteed. Some people have, they do get kicked out because they time out. So you have 5 minutes or something to put in all your information, buy your tickets. So it's great because you have this, it dings at you when you get in the cart. So, a good thing to do, if your internet can handle it, open multiple tabs. The biggest thing is to not go off your computer clock. Don't go off your cell phone clock. Don't go off the clock in your house. I believe it's time.gov. There's a government website that regulates the time, it's going to sound silly, but for the internet, you need to watch that. Watch exactly for the time when the tickets go live to kind of up your chances of getting in the queue. Getting in the queue is the most stressful part of it because you'll be sitting there, and then it makes the level up sound once you're in the queue to buy the tickets. So definitely make sure your accounts are set up before time. You can go to universe.com. You can hook it up to your Facebook. So just make sure you have that account set up beforehand, just so you're not, scrambling the day tickets go on sale.
When you click buy tickets, I'm not sure how it was last year, but the option to select how many tickets, is that when you get to the checkout, or is that right before you buy?
It's checkout, I believe.
Because there was one year that it was at the very beginning. You had to select the amount before you hit buy. So there was that second of delay that you had to shift through 4 slots on a drop-down menu. Mm-hmm. But I think that's been changed. So when you hit buy, there's the little loading doodad on your screen, and that's the most stressful doodad of your life. You're just watching that, and you're my first time, second time, and third time buying BlizzCon tickets are still engraved into my memory, because you click on that and you just wait. You hold your breath, and you're not only waiting for you're waiting for a message from one of your friends in your Facebook group chat, a text, anything, for someone to go, I'm in, and you're like, yes, but you don't want to bail. If you need 2 buyers because you need a total of 6 tickets, someone's going to buy, divide it evenly. Someone will buy 3, someone will buy 3. You still need both of you in there. So, the most stressful part is waiting. And if you get kicked out, there has been people who've been kicked out of the queue, and they get back in line in the queue.
You can get back in.
And you can get back in.
So basically what will happen is, you say Blizzard will, or Universe will pop up and say oh, this event has been sold out. If you're in the queue still, when that message comes up, there's a chance that people are going to time out. Somebody lost their internet connection. Somebody said, oh man, I can't afford this. Just wait. I mean, as bad as it sounds, you can still get in after it says it's sold out. It happened to a few people in our Discord last year when we were doing tickets in there. So you really have to wait. It's probably about 10 minutes after tickets go on sale. That's kind of like the end.
That's the cutoff point. Yeah, that's when you hang your head and you kind of go, okay, we'll try for round 2. Round 2, I find on the Saturday. Wednesday night is the shit show. Okay, and I'm going to tell anyone listening now, if this is your first time buying BlizzCon tickets and you don't get it on the Wednesday, don't worry. That happens to most people because everyone is trying to get them on that night. Saturday morning tends to be the more successful day because a lot of people already have their tickets. There's no need to go back. Now, some people don't get it, but I find that we've always gotten our tickets. The more successful day of the 2 days has always been the Saturday instead of the Wednesday night. So
I agree.
Wednesday night is the first, everyone's rushing. Saturday, a little bit more calm, but still don't let your guard down. Have all of Shannon's warnings, the preemptive credit card, all that stuff. Call ahead, have all that settled. And honestly, the one thing I'll just keep reiterating, organize your group. Decide if only one of you can afford, if there's 6 of you going and only 2 of you can afford it on your MasterCards, that's fair. Do you trust your friends enough to give them your credit card information? Because if your friend Joe gets through, but he can't afford it onto his card, what are you going to do? Are you going to give him your credit card information? Because at that point, he just pulled a lucky number out of a hat and he got in. No one else did. So you need to be able to trust, get people who you trust. I've gotten people who weren't even going to BlizzCon that helped me buy. And 2 times they've gotten in. And I trust them with my card. They got in, punched in the information, got me my tickets. No problem. But make sure you trust the person and organize, decide what tickets are being bought for who. And if you're actively involved in a community or you've got a big guild or you're in the Blizznerds group, and not everyone can afford this, but if you've got room on your card for an extra ticket, buy it. Because I guarantee someone out there will buy it. On the topic of buying tickets off of people, do not support scalpers in any way. And if there are scalpers listening to this right now, stop.
You're the worst.
You are awful. I can't even find words for you. Scalping BlizzCon tickets. Actually, Blizzard has a team dedicated to hunting down these scalped posts. And scalping basically means buying a ticket to an event, sporting event, whatever, and selling it for a lot more than it's worth. So right away on eBay, you're going to see these $200 BlizzCon tickets for 2018 going on sale for $800 a piece. Blizzard hopefully will crack down and get those people before any poor sucker buys those. And people always think, okay, I didn't get BlizzCon tickets on the Wednesday or the Saturday. My only chance is through eBay or through scalping. No, do not, under any circumstances, do that, because you are supporting those scalpers, which is illegal in California, by the way. I remember one year some guy was standing outside the convention center with a sign, and he had 10 badges hanging off of the sign, selling them for $300 a piece. And security approached him, and 10 minutes later his sign was changed to $200 a piece. Because in California it's illegal to scalp, and Blizzard will call the police on you, will bring security if you try to do that at BlizzCon. So don't buy it off eBay. Don't buy it off of any scalping websites. There are alternatives. Shannon's going to talk about PayPal here because this is very important. A lot of places, online communities, especially Blizznerds, people will be buying tickets, and you're going to be buying and selling tickets. PayPal is usually the best option, and I actually didn't know about this, so...
Yeah, so the great thing about PayPal is that whenever you use it, you basically have 2 options on how to pay. You pay friends and family, or you pay goods and services. Do not ever, no matter how well you know the person, I don't care if it's like your mom, your husband, whoever, do not ever pay by friends and family, because it offers you no protection. If something goes wrong, if, you do end up buying from someone who's not completely honest, they change the name on the ticket, you're out $200. What are you going to do? You put all your savings into buying that ticket. If you buy, always, always, always use goods and services. It gives you the buyer protection. You have a long time to dispute it too. Basically, it goes, if anything happens, you contact PayPal. They get your money back. They don't just refund you. They get it back from the person that you gave it to. So it's not like they still have your money. But that's the only way to protect yourself. And I'll say probably around 95% of the sales that at least we in Blizznerds do, and a lot of the other groups, they all do use PayPal. So just please protect yourself. We had so many people last year get scammed, and it's heartbreaking. So always, the only thing with PayPal goods and services is that it does charge like a little additional fee. It's like a few bucks, but it's worth the, security of not getting, your butt handed to you when you're at $200.
And the biggest thing to watch for in all this is people scamming, not just scalpers, but scamming by. So the thing that we didn't really mention earlier, when you buy your BlizzCon ticket, you put your name, you put your character name, and you put your Battle.net email, because there are virtual goodies that are tied to every BlizzCon ticket. So when you look at your badge, it will say Jesse, or not your badge. My badge will say Jesse, and on that will say the Lost Codex, and then that email won't appear on the actual ticket. It'll just be tied to it. When you buy tickets for other people, let's say you buy one for your friend, but your friend bails and you have to sell this ticket to someone completely random, you have to get their name and their character name, or whatever they want, guild name, whatever they want to put under their name, and the email as well. And this is where a lot of scams come into play. Is they'll sell the same ticket multiple times, and they'll put your name on it, but then they'll sell that same ticket to someone else, and this is where all these accidents happen. So PayPal will cover your ass there. I didn't know about this. I've never used PayPal for BlizzCon tickets, but this is good to know, because I will definitely be reminding people of the goods and services protection plan there. On the topic of names and putting your name on, do we have the name deadline for this year yet?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Usually the middle of June is a good estimate.
June, sometimes July, there is a cutoff point where you have to have your name and your character name and your Battle.net email put in on your BlizzCon ticket. What happens if you want to buy a BlizzCon ticket after that name change?
It's doable. Like, don't get discouraged because the name change deadline has passed. You're waiting for something to come through so you can afford it. It gets complicated, but it's doable. Basically, what you have to have, if you're going to redeem a ticket on someone else's behalf, you have to have, I believe, I'll have to double check on this, a copy front and back of the person's ID and the last 4 digits of the credit card that was used to purchase the tickets. If you have this information, you can pick up the badge at BlizzCon. But a lot of people will meet up in person, which is great because then they can just sell it off, right there. But it's definitely doable. Like, don't freak out because the name change deadline is passed. They actually put out an article on blizzcon.com about all the specific steps. We can always link it.
You can also just bring the new badge holder with you. I've actually met a couple people, new friends that way, people we've been selling tickets to. We stand in line with them because you're going to have to stand on this name change line. That's probably the worst part about the name change is there's a name change line at BlizzCon. So if you're meeting up with this person and you're getting the name changed at BlizzCon, you do have to stand in line with this person, but you've just made a new friend, and that's what BlizzCon's all about. So congratulations. And then after that name change, you never have to talk to them again if they were awful company for the last 20 minutes. At that point, you get your new badge. They print out the badges on the spot as a little laminated sleeve. You have your lanyard. They hand you your big BlizzCon goodie bag, and off you go. So if you decide to buy after the name change deadline, don't panic. It's still doable. A little bit of pain in the ass, as Shannon said, but definitely still doable. So don't worry. Where can you find BlizzCon tickets? Ask Shannon. Send her a direct message on Facebook, and she'll be happy to tell you. Don't do that. Don't do that. She will get really angry. But Shannon is the mod of the Blizznerds Facebook group, and they are one of the top groups in providing people with BlizzCon tickets and organizing and all this stuff. Describe the process a little bit, because I've never actually bought tickets through Blizznerds, so I don't know.
So this year we actually changed it up a bit. We actually have a BlizzCon ticket page that we have sponsored under BlizzNerds. Basically after tickets have sold out completely, so not after first wave, after second wave, we're basically going to open an application to everybody, and it's basically a giant spreadsheet that says, "Hi, my name is blank. I'm looking to either buy/sell X amount of tickets. Here's my contact information." Throughout the year, we have a dedicated group of people who go, and it's a lot of it is by word of mouth, but we do find tickets and we work our way down that list. I want to say last year we helped around 400 people get tickets up until literally days before BlizzCon. So it's a really good way, and you can always track your placement on the spreadsheet to see, what number you are. It doesn't move very fast until after name change deadline, funny enough. But that's when people start freaking out and start realizing like, oh my gosh, I need to offload this ticket. So yeah, you guys can follow it on BlizzNerds BlizzCon tickets. If you search it on Facebook, it's also on our Instagram and Twitter. But we'll open that as soon as tickets are officially sold out.
Perfect. So that is one place to go, the BlizzNerds BlizzCon ticket page. We will provide a link in the description for all of your BlizzCon ticket needs. And this is, of course, after the BlizzCon ticket sales, so don't just wait for the BlizzNerds ticket page. Try and get tickets yourself. What a lot of people do is a lot of people buy these extra tickets for the BlizzNerds group because they know, and again, this is if you can afford it and you're comfortable enough buying an extra ticket for someone in your community, something like that. A lot of people do that, so shout out to those MVPs who do that. Another great website is lfblizzcon.com, which was a website created a couple years ago by Elvine. Many of you might know him. He's a well-known gold maker in the World of Warcraft community, heavy influencer in just the World of Warcraft community in general. But Elvine got sick and tired of people scamming and scalping others, and so created this website where you can post a selling post or a buying post. So if you've got an extra BlizzCon ticket to sell, you can post it up there, and the maximum price you can put it up for is what you paid for it. So the $200 American, or $203, I think Universe has a fee now. That is the fee that you can put up there, no more. You can put it for less if you want, it'll sell faster, but no more than what you paid for it. And that is to basically provide a safe forum where people can sell these tickets and not worry about being scammed or scalped in any way like that. And that is the whole premise of LF BlizzCon. It's not an official website by Blizzard, but they have acknowledged it, they have directed people to it, and again, Elvine is well known in the community, so awesome job on doing that. So if you have a ticket, usually the page of people buying tickets is a lot more active because everyone's trying to buy tickets and not everyone's trying to sell their spare tickets. But as you get closer to BlizzCon, Shanyn said, people realize, oh wait, I can't go. Suddenly there's an event that pops up. Work suddenly said no, emergencies, God forbid, anything like that, and you have to get rid of your tickets. LF BlizzCon is the page to do it. You can also post room searching listings there as well. So if you want to split a hotel room with someone and you're comfortable meeting new people, that's a good place because one of the heavier prices, money aspects of BlizzCon is the hotel. So a lot of people want to split a room. And you can also find ride listings there as well, to and from the airport, stuff like that. So lfblizzcon.com, great place to go. We are days away from the first BlizzCon ticket sales. And even though at this point I'd say I'm comfortable enough saying that I'm an expert, I'm still nervous.
Still nerve-wracking.
It's so nerve-wracking. This is my 7th BlizzCon, and it's still nerve-wracking for me. It's never not going to be nerve-wracking because they sell out in seconds. Like, literally seconds. People are getting their tickets, or you're getting kicked out of the queue, and my heart's already going just thinking about it. Like it's
like your fate's decided in literally seconds, and it's just so like there's so many unknowns. Like I think the funniest thing about last year is that I sat and reset my router, reset everything, turned off literally every device in the house that was using internet, except for my computer. 24 tabs open across both my monitors. Didn't get in. My husband was at work and got into the queue on Best Buy Wi-Fi. So there's no 100% you're gonna get in. It's just really, you can do everything you can to prepare, to boost your chances. But it's always so nerve-wracking.
And the one thing that I will say is, if you don't get on the Wednesday or the Saturday, I know so many people who just give up. They give up and they think, you know what, I can't go to BlizzCon. It's not happening. And I will say, in all honesty, I have never had a friend who's wanted to go to BlizzCon that didn't get tickets in the first 2 ticket sales that wasn't able to eventually go and get BlizzCon tickets later that year. Again, not everyone, a lot of people are trying to just offload their spare tickets. Suddenly their friends or family members can't go. Suddenly emergencies come up. Things happen, and people try to offload these tickets later in the year. So if you don't get it this Wednesday and you don't get it this upcoming Saturday, don't panic. Honestly, and I don't want to say this officially because it's going to come back and bite me in the ass, but I've known people who go to BlizzCon, who buy their plane tickets without even having a BlizzCon ticket sale secured for themselves. Because people sell them at the door. People, you can literally just walk around holding a sign, want to buy one BlizzCon ticket. Someone will, because of an emergency, sell you one. I'm not going to say 100% because it's going to come back, but honestly, I've never known anyone who's wanted to go to BlizzCon that couldn't go because of a ticket problem. So if you don't get in this weekend, this is your first time doing it, don't get discouraged. BlizzNerds has a way to help you. LF BlizzCon has a way to help you. Twitter is a great way to keep an eye in that community under the BlizzCon hashtag, BlizzCon 2018 hashtag. So I hope that's my biggest thing is whenever I talk to someone new who's going to BlizzCon and say, I didn't get tickets, I can't go. I say, no, don't give up.
There's a will, there's a way.
Your journey is just beginning. This is part of the experience. You need to feel stressed. You need to sweat. You need to worry. And then you'll get your ticket and all will be right in the world. And then your BlizzCon hype train can start its woo-wooing.
It's all part of the BlizzCon experience. First the stress, then the excitement, then the happiness. You can't have one without the other.
You can't, no. And honestly, that's true. It's part of the experience. It's part of the, when you get into the queue and your little loading screen is on screen turning, you stand up and you start pacing around your room and you're walking around like, oh my God, is it going to go through? Looking at your phone. Holy crap. It's all an experience, and I'm probably scaring the shit out of people who are listening who want to buy tickets, but definitely...
You gotta know at least a little bit going into it what to expect.
You can't go in blind. You can't go in suddenly realizing all these little loopholes you have to jump through. So go in, organize yourself with your friends, and if you don't get in, don't worry. BlizzNerds will help you. LF BlizzCon will help you. I'm always open to suggest to if you need any advice, you need any, have any questions about BlizzCon tickets, both Shannon and I can answer these questions. Just send me a message. I can direct them to Shannon. I can direct them to anyone who you want to ask questions about BlizzCon. Definitely don't worry, because all will be right. If you want to go to BlizzCon this year, November 2018, you will be able to go. I guarantee it. That's pretty much all we had planned for today's podcast. It was more so just a little preview hype about BlizzCon and to talk about ticket sales. And to help those who are planning this big, risky, stressful, emotional roller coaster of an endeavor this week. We will be back with some BlizzCon specials talking about BlizzCon parties and BlizzCon announcements and BlizzCon predictions closer to once we have the virtual goodies and who the closing acts and all that stuff is. We'll break down BlizzCon by each day, by each video game. Shannon will be back because there's no one else who can talk about BlizzCon aside from Shannon and I. We'll bring Dane on. We're gonna re-hype up Dane. We'll bring on everyone we can because honestly, the season is beginning. The BlizzCon season has started. We know the dates. That's round 1. Round 2 starting this week. So, I'm excited.
We'll get there. We'll all get through it. It'll be good. We just have to get through the stress first.
That's it. All right, guys. Thank you all for listening to this episode of Decoded, episode 3, BlizzCon Ticket Hype. I am your host, Jesse, the writer, director, and narrator for the Lost Codex. My co-host today was Shanyn. Shanyn, tell these fine people where they can find you. That sounds creepy. Where they can find you on the internet.
You guys can find me under Twitter and Instagram, and also Twitch under Snazzy Shanyn. My Instagram's actually Snazzy Shanyn 19. But I'm always posting goofy stuff, and if you guys do want to reach out about BlizzCon tickets, any tips or anything, do DM me. Like I say it as a joke. But yeah, if you have questions, I'm always happy to help.
Blizz Nerds Facebook group, you definitely just, I think you have to apply. You have to, request membership to get in.
Yeah, answer a question, or answer a few questions like, what Blizzard games do you play? How'd you hear about the group? And are you going to read our guidelines? So, just kind of answer them. And then you'll get approved. And then you can buy BlizzCon tickets.
All will be well. And the other website, lfblizzcon.com. Post all those links in the description below, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Keep your eyes peeled on our Twitter page for updates for the Zandalari episode 2 coming out not next week, but hopefully the week after. We'll see you guys next week on Decoded episode 4, topic pending. Thank you guys very much, and have a great night, and good luck this week on your BlizzCon ticket purchasing adventure times. Okay, bye.